My name's Gore. I'm from Western Australia. I am 37 years old, and my personal best for the backyard ultra is 102 yards. I was never someone who kind of looked at doing an ultra marathon. I kind of did anything from 5Ks to marathon. Wasn't really interested in doing the longer distances. Um, I had done a few longer runs, but I hadn't really been hooked by the ultra format. And then I saw the backyard, and it was a 6.7K run, and just go for as long as you can. And I thought, well, there's no, um, yeah, it's not as overwhelming to look at as signing up for 100 mile or 200 mile. All you got to look at is running that 6.7Ks, and I thought this would be a good kind of concept to see how far I can go. I can kind of stop at any time, so there's no pressure to do those really big distances. But yeah, as I started doing it, and I realized how much I'm capable of, I just developed this passion for it and just wanted to see how far I could push myself. My first backyard was at Birdie's backyard in 2020. I didn't really have much of an idea of what I was getting myself into. I had no plan, no strategy. I just took a bunch of food and a bunch of clothes. I took a little tent set up. Um, and yeah, didn't really know what to expect, but I just found I really loved the format, as in everyone starts together at the same start of each hour. So there was no winners or losers. It didn't matter how fast you did the lap. You're all together again, and each lap you could run with someone different. You could run with the same person, and yeah, just kind of it's a very social thing. You get to talk to everybody else, and I learned a lot from talking to other runners there. Like, there were a few more experienced ultra runners there that I was getting tips from, but then also a lot of brand new people that were kind of in my boat, so we could relate to each other. And yeah, I remember just having the idea of, I'm pretty sure I can get to 24 hours, and yeah, let's just see how long I can hold on after that. And I ended up finishing it as the assist with 39 hours, and I was completely destroyed at the end. Like, I yeah, just broke down at the start line. And um yeah, so in the moment I was just in a world of hurt, but it's something that I always look back on, and I just, it was somewhere I really got to push myself. And um even though I didn't win it, or technically even finish it, I still just had this tremendous feeling of accomplishment, more than any other run that I'd done previously. And so, yeah, I just keep going back to them because I just like to chase that feeling, and yeah, see how far I can push myself and challenge myself. Um, but yeah, there's a lot that I didn't like about it as well. But there's nothing that I look back on and regret. Um, yeah, as I said, I had no plan with it. I didn't have written down what food I was going to eat or anything like that. I just kind of made it up, and so I did kind of struggle a bit. There was a lot of periods of, I wasn't getting the right energy intake. I just wasn't in the right mental space, and at the time, I was just like, "This sucks. I just want this race to finish." Um, I didn't really want to quit. It was more like, I just want the race to be over. Um, like, for something outside of my control. But I personally, I didn't want to quit, and it just got to the point where I, yeah, couldn't take another step, and yeah, I just kind of let that make the decision for me. But yeah, there's always points in the backyard that I don't like, but I never look back on it and in yeah, in a negative way. It's always take away the positives from it. I definitely wasn't like this at the start, but as I um, kind of invested a bit more time and effort into the format, I think I really started to excel with my organization, and my planning, and just all the logistics and stuff around it. So with the obviously with the backyard, um, having that speed and that strategy while you're running, it does help, but it's not the main thing that's going to set you apart. So I just looked at all the other things outside of the running that I can control, and yeah, just try to come in with a bit more structure and a bit more planning. Um, and yeah, I think that's where my strengths lie. In my first backyard, I didn't even know what Big's backyard was. I didn't even know that the backyard format was this thing that took place all over the world. The only thing I knew about it was this single event. They'd done it the previous year. This was the second year that they were doing it. I'd followed it the year before, and I thought, oh yeah, that's an event that I can do. When um, so when we finished that first backyard, and I'd done 39 yards, I found out later that that was the fourth highest out of any Australian, which I thought was pretty cool. And I thought, oh, if there was another couple of laps there, we could have done an Australian record. And so that's when I kind of thought, okay, this is something I might be good at. And I started, looking into the backyard format a bit more and finding out about the other events around the world. I never thought I'd be competitive on the world stage until I it was birdies the following year, so 2021. I ended up getting an invite. I did 51 yards at that event, and I ended up getting an invite to Big's backyard. And yeah, at the time, that's when a lot of COVID stuff was still happening. As much as I tried to work out the planning and logistics, I just couldn't make it work to get over there. But yeah, so pretty much for the last 2 years, it's been my focus to qualify again and to be able to make the trip over there. The attraction for me is to run against the best in the world. So I might have the world record, but that doesn't mean I'm the best. I've just been in the right race, in the right circumstances, with the right runner to be able to pull that off. Um, So this one is we're getting all the top runners from around the world into the one spot. So there's people that might have only done 60 or 70 yards, but they're their national champion and they haven't been tested. So it's really interesting to think about and to see how far they're going to be able to go. Um, so yeah, with the backyard, it's a great format for people to test what their limit is, and that was always my thing going into it. I just wanted to see how far I could push myself. But ever since my second backyard, I've won every one that I've done. And as the winner, you're the one person in the event that can't find out how far you can go. So I'm really looking forward to running against all these other people and seeing if I can find that limit. And if not, well, yeah, maybe have to wait till another year or another event to wait until that person comes along that can push me that little bit more. Straight away going into it, I knew there was going to be a quality field there. So we had the top runners from Australia and New Zealand, and we had Harvey Lewis coming over, and I knew that Harvey Lewis had done 85 before, and I knew that there were people there that were keen to go far. So it wasn't your standard backyard. It was um, yeah, not like a world championships or anything, but it was more of an elite level competition. So straight away going in there and knowing that Harvey Lewis had done 85 before, my best had been 76. Um, it kind of straight away my mindset was this is an event that's going to go a long time. So coming into it, I'm not kind of thinking, oh, this is just going to be 48 hours or 50, 60 hours and we'll be done. So when we're getting to those stages in the race and there's still quite a few people there, like I'm not mentally checking out. I'm thinking, we're possibly not even halfway yet. So I think that helps a lot with the mindset. The course was a pretty good course. It wasn't a lot of elevation, but there was enough to keep it interesting, give it a bit of variety, so you're not using the same muscles all the time. There was a day course and a night course, uh, which really helped with the mental side of it as well, because it just makes it easier to break the event down into chunks. So I'm only focusing on 12 hours at a time. So 12 hours on the day course, and then we're going to switch to the night course, and it just helps break that up and again give it that variety. The day course was on the trail, it was really scenic. There were cows around, a lot of people like spectators watching, which just really helps you get around. And then at night, it was The course was a bit more boring. It was just a flat road, or had a little bit of elevation, but it was mainly flat, and it was just kind of an out and back. And but despite it being a boring course, I just found that easier to just be able to tune out, and I could go a bit faster, so I could get more sleep in. And yeah, I think it just worked out really well. We were lucky with the weather. It did get quite cold overnight, but we never got rain. We weren't dealing with mud and things like that. And then during the day, it got a little bit warm, but there were only probably 3 or 4 hours of the day where I had to be thinking about wearing ice collars and things like that. And otherwise, outside of that, the temperatures were pretty good to run in. So yeah, I think everything just, it was a great location, a great atmosphere with the spectators and the other runners, and we had the international aspect there. My crew was really good. So my wife Gemma has crewed for me at all of my events, but at this event we also had a couple of friends who actually lived nearby. Um, by nearby, I mean in the same state. It's still about 2 hours away. Um, so they came over as well. So Nathan and Cassie, and they were just awesome in yeah, just helping me get through. And I think between Gemma, Nathan, and Cassie, they just made a really good team. And I was very lucky to have them help me get through all those hours. So yeah, just worked out really well. So that last lap that I did, I knew at the time that it was my last lap. So Sam had started the lap with me and then just pulled out immediately after. And he'd kind of, the few laps before that, I kind of had the idea that he was going to drop out when we got to the world record anyway. And so when I went and ran that lap on my own, um, yeah, it's such a surreal feeling. Any sort of niggles or aches or pains that you have, you just don't even care about them anymore. I just really wanted to embrace being on that course for the last time. I didn't want to like go out there and just run a really fast lap and finish in record time. I just wanted to be out there, embrace the time that I'm there, just kind of soak in the surroundings like for one last time. And yeah, it was just crossing that finish line, and everyone was there cheering me on, had the music playing. I was getting high fives as I ran into the finish line. It was just, yeah, such a surreal experience, and one that I'll always remember. At the start of a backyard, like say the first 24 hours, it's really social. It's great getting to know everybody. It's a new course, a new location, and I'm just really enjoying just being there and being in the moment, and just yeah, just talking with everyone. And it's all fun and games. And then you kind of, it starts to get a bit more serious, and you got to, your legs are starting to hurt, and you do kind of, you gradually start to get that pain come in. But I think it kind of just reaches a point where it plateaus, and then you get the monotony and the boredom kind of coming in, and you just start to project too far ahead, and you think, how long is it going to keep going for? And so that middle bit is kind of, it's just that monotonous grind that you have to get through before you get to the exciting bit again. So once you start getting to the end and you get to, like, say, the last 4 or 5 people, it starts to become a different game, and a bit more strategy comes into it, and everyone's kind of looking around at what the other runners are doing. I just try to focus on my own thing. um, but yeah, it does get exciting when you get to the later stages. For me now, I'm probably looking at over 100 hours when I get to that stage. But it starts to get exciting again, because you are going into that new territory, into that new area that you haven't been before. You've got, yeah, other runners with you who might also be in their new territory as well, and you kind of, you have that camaraderie of going through the struggle together. And yeah, and just finding out how far you can actually push that is really exciting. For me, the focus is on just doing a lot of Ks. So in my peak weeks, I'll do about 170 to 180 Ks, and in my quieter weeks, it'll be anywhere between say 80 and 120. Um, and I kind of just it varies each week. So I do a gradual build, kind of working on that. Add 10% each week, maybe a little bit more. Um, so it's a lot of Ks, but also um, uh, focusing on the mental aspects of it as well. So in a backyard, there's going to be plenty of times where you just don't want to go to that start line and run another lap, and it's really hard to get from your chair to that start line. And the same thing when you're doing your training. Sometimes you're at home and you've got something on the plan, and you just don't want to do it for whatever reason. You might not be feeling well, or it might be really cold outside, or raining, or it's really hot, or you've got a lot on, and you don't think you're going to have the time. Just whatever it is, there might be a reason you don't want to go out there and do it. And I think that these runs are the most important. Just make sure you get out there and get it done. You might not do exactly what was on your plan, but the main thing is you've got out the door, you've got your shoes on, and you've started running. So it's that kind of mental thing. Just running in any conditions, um, in any mood or enthusiasm levels, because you're going to get that in the backyard. You're going to go through all different sorts of weathers. Your mood's going to go up and down. Your enthusiasm is going to be high and it's going to be low. So I think, yeah, just getting your mind used to doing that. And yeah, it just gets to the point where you just, yeah, you don't take any excuses. You just, if that's what's on your training plan, that's what you're going to do. You're going to go out there and do it. Same thing if you're in a backyard, there's no excuse. You finish that lap in time, you got to get to the start line for the next one. I'm very meticulous with my planning. So my plan for bigs has evolved over pretty much every backyard I've done. So the first backyard I went into had no plan at all. The next one I went into, I had a bit more of a structure. I had rough ideas of what times I wanted to run, rough ideas of when I was going to eat, but not exactly what I was going to eat. And then, yeah, as it progressed, each time I kind of added a little bit or changed the structure of the plan and things like this. And it's got to the point now where the last sort of the last two backyards at least, I haven't really had to change too much, because I think I've got it to that point where it works really well. And I'm not super rigid in it that, if I don't hit that required pace or I don't eat that exact item of food, then, I'm gonna stuff it all up. I am flexible with it, but that gives me that framework to work with. And but what I found is that framework has been pretty accurate, and I haven't really had to stray too far from it. But I do have backup plans of what to do if I do reach that point where I can't maintain that pace, or I can't eat that food or things like that. The satellite champs last year, I got a bit delirious, and there was probably about 10 hours there where I wasn't thinking straight. But all I knew I had to do was I just had to get to that start line and then run until I get to the finish line. I didn't hallucinate, but I did kind of wonder at a few different stages, like, where am I? Like, I didn't know, for some reason I thought that this was the third course that we'd been on, like, throughout the event. I thought there'd been like three different courses, and we'd kind of moved each day or something like that. Um, yeah, I have had in other events, like, auditory hallucinations, like I hear things in my head or I hear music, even though there's no music being played anywhere. But I never get those visual things, like seeing things or getting freaked out by anything like that. And I think that a lot of that comes down to, like, maintaining my nutrition, making sure I've got the right salt balances, and also my sleep. I think that's a bit of a strength of mine. I'm able to get that sleep in, so I am sleep deprived, but maybe not to the same extent that other people might be. This is something I've been looking forward to for the past 2 years. So it's taken, yeah, a lot of. I'm probably in a better position now than I was 2 years ago anyway, so it's probably a better year for me to come. I'm really excited, as I said, to, uh, you know, be able to push my limits and be up there with the best in the world, and maybe I can find my limit this time. Maybe I'll win it and be left wondering. But I'm just excited about just being able to represent my country on the world stage, being able to meet all these other people from other countries. I've already got the chance to chat with a few of them through Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. So to get to meet them in person, and just, yeah, I love talking about running. So when I'm out running the laps with these guys, that who are just as passionate about running as I am, there's a lot of conversations that we're going to be able to have. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the whole experience of it. Just being in a different country, yeah, being a world championship level event, which yeah, I haven't done before in my running career, so that's all new to me. So yeah, it's just the whole everything around it. It's not just about going there to run and test myself. It's everything around it that I'm looking forward to as well. When I first started, and the world record was 75, I put that on my plan as a point that I didn't think I'd ever reach. And now here I am, just a few years later, having done more than a day beyond that. When I got to 102 hours for the world record, I still felt that I could keep running. I felt I do kind of reach a point in that third or fourth day where everything just kind of felt like it was at an equilibrium, and I just felt like I could keep going continuously unless there was like a medical emergency or a broken bone or a physical injury like that. So yeah, I you just need to find the two right people to be able to keep going. And yeah, I just wonder. I always wonder, can it reach a point where if you get everything balanced and maintained, that it can just go indefinitely? Like, I just wonder, will it reach a point where they say, no, we have to put a cap on this because, we can't be out here for longer than a month or whatever it is. I think even now, I say a month, I think that's pretty extreme. Uh, but yeah, you just never know. Like the world record is getting broken, what, like twice a year, every year. So uh, yeah, it's got to reach a point sometime. But I don't know where that is. I don't want to put a number on it.